The assassination. The crowd was alive with excitement. Billions of humans across Earth and its colonies watched eagerly on their screens as President Adrian Cole prepared to deliver his most important speech yet. The vast Unity Dome, a state-of-the-art structure built to symbolize humanity's place among the stars, was packed with people. Flags of Earth fluttered on massive holographic displays, and the atmosphere was electric with pride and hope. President Cole stood tall at the podium, his charismatic presence commanding attention. His message was one of peace, progress, and strength. He spoke of how humanity, once fractured by war and greed, had risen to become a unified force capable of great achievements. He talked about Earth's growing role in the Galactic Council, a coalition of alien civilizations working together for mutual prosperity. As he spoke, people felt inspired. His words carried hope, reminding them of how far humanity had come. He promised a future where humans would stand as equals among the stars, not as conquerors, but as collaborators. Then it happened. A sudden, sharp sound, a loud, piercing crack, shattered the celebration. President Cole froze, his words cut off mid-sentence. The crowd gasped in unison, their cheers replaced by a shocked silence. Slowly, he looked down at his chest. A small glowing hole burned through his suit. Crimson blood seeped out, staining the pristine white of his uniform. The president collapsed. For a second, everything was still. Then chaos erupted. People screamed, scattering in panic. Security forces scrambled to protect the remaining officials on stage. Reporters shouted into their cameras, trying to make sense of the horror unfolding live across the galaxy. On the stage, the president's closest advisor, Sarah Lynn, knelt beside him, tears streaming down her face. "Stay with me, Adrian," she pleaded, her voice trembling. But his eyes were already losing their light. His last words, barely audible, were, "Don't let them win." The assassination had taken less than a second, but its impact was seismic. High above the Unity Dome, hidden in the shadows of a floating observation drone, the assassins stood silently. Cloaked in advanced alien technology, they were nearly invisible. A sleek, black weapon rested in their hands, a weapon far beyond human design. The assassin didn't linger. In a flash of light, they vanished, leaving no trace behind. The news spread like wildfire. President Adrian Cole assassinated, blared headlines across every screen. Earth's people were stunned. How could this happen in the heart of Earth's most secure location? Who could have done this? In the command center of Earth's global security agency, agents worked furiously to identify the assassin. They analyzed every frame of footage, but the cloaking technology left them with nothing. No face, no fingerprints, no evidence. "We've intercepted a transmission," said one officer, his voice tense. "It's encrypted, but it's not human. It's alien." The room fell silent as the transmission was decoded. A distorted voice spoke in a strange guttural language, and the translated message appeared on the screen. Phase 1 complete. Humanity's rise will not be tolerated. Prepare for Phase 2. Captain Mara Steele, a decorated soldier and head of the president's security detail, clenched her fists as she read the message. Guilt and anger burned in her chest. She had failed to protect him. But this wasn't just about her failure. This was an attack on all of humanity. "This wasn't a random act," she said, her voice steady despite the rage beneath it. "This was planned, coordinated. They want to destabilize us, make us weak. But we won't let that happen." The leaders of Earth's nations convened in an emergency meeting. Some called for immediate retaliation against the Galactic Council, accusing them of orchestrating the assassination. Others urged caution, fearing the war humanity might not survive. The debates were heated, with no clear path forward. Meanwhile, protests erupted across Earth's cities. People demanded answers, justice, and revenge. The once unified planet began to fracture under the weight of grief and fear. In the shadows, Mara gathered a small team of trusted operatives. She knew that waiting for politicians to act would be futile. They needed to uncover the truth and act swiftly. If the assassin was working for a larger force, humanity needed to be ready. As Mara prepared to leave on her mission, she glanced at a photo of President Cole on her desk. "We won't let them win," she whispered. Unbeknownst to her, the assassin watched her from a hidden vantage point. They reported back to their unseen masters, their voice cold and emotionless. "The humans are reacting as expected. Begin Phase 2. Far away, in the depths of space, an alien fleet began to move. Their ships were sleek and deadly, their purpose clear: to ensure humanity's submission. The assassination was only the beginning. The silent uprising. The Unity Dome stood eerily empty now, its grandeur tainted by the shadow of assassination. Earth mourned, but the mourning was far from silent. Protests shook the streets, news channels buzzed with speculation, and trust in the Galactic Council hung by a thread. Humanity had lost its leader, but the spirit to fight back was only beginning to ignite. In a dimly lit room within Earth's global security agency, Captain Mara Steele sat at the head of a long table. Her team, a mix of seasoned operatives and brilliant analysts, awaited her words. On the wall, a hologram of the alien message flickered. Phase 1 complete. Humanity's rise will not be tolerated. Prepare for Phase 2. Mara's voice was calm but cold, cutting through the room's tension. This wasn't just an assassination. It's a declaration of war, covert, calculated, and aimed at breaking us from within. Whoever did this wants humanity to fall apart before we can even defend ourselves. One of her analysts, a wiry man named Ethan, spoke up. "We've identified fragments of the assassin's cloaking tech. It's unlike anything we've seen. No human or council race has tech like this." Mara narrowed her eyes. "Then they're either hiding it from the council or working outside of it. Either way, we need answers." The hologram shifted, displaying a list of alien factions known for their hostility toward humanity. Ethan highlighted one name: the Zephyr Coalition, a secretive group of alien warlords opposed to humanity joining the galactic fold. "They've always hated us," Ethan said. "They think humans are dangerous, unpredictable, and unworthy of a seat at the table." "They might be right about the dangerous part," Mara said dryly. "But this isn't just about hate. This is strategy. They're pushing us to break apart. If we do, they win." While Earth's leaders debated their next steps, Mara moved quietly. She assembled a covert task force, a team she could trust completely. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Serena Vega, was a sharp tactician who had fought alongside Mara in countless battles. The team also included Ethan, their tech wizard; Ava, a stealth operative with a reputation for getting into places no one else could; and Dax, a former smuggler with deep knowledge of alien black markets. "We can't wait for the politicians to make up their minds," Mara told them. "We're going to find out who did this and why, and we're going to stop them before they make their next move." Their first lead came from an intercepted transmission, traced to a remote outpost on the moon Europa. The outpost was abandoned, but Ava's keen eyes spotted something others would have missed: faint traces of alien energy signatures. "This tech is Zephyr," Ethan confirmed as he scanned the area. "They were here, and recently." As the team delved deeper, they uncovered a hidden data cache. It was heavily encrypted, but Ethan's skills cracked it open. The information was chilling. Detailed plans for destabilizing Earth's colonies, with key targets identified for sabotage and assassination. "Look at this," Serena said, pointing to the list. "These aren't just random targets. They're the people who could lead humanity if Cole fell. They want to cut off the head and let the body die," Mara said grimly. "Not on my watch." Back on Earth, political divisions deepened. Some leaders demanded immediate retaliation against the Galactic Council, accusing them of harboring the assassins. Others urged caution, fearing an all-out war humanity wasn't ready for. Protests grew violent in major cities, and whispers of secession from the colonies began to spread. In the midst of this chaos, Mara's team tracked another lead, a black market arms dealer known as Vinar, who had ties to the Zephyr Coalition. They cornered him in a seedy outpost on Mars, where the air reeked of oil and desperation. Humans, Vinar sneered when they confronted him, always so quick to jump to conclusions. Mara slammed a blade into the table, her voice cold. "We don't have time for games, Vinar. Who ordered the hit on President Cole?" The alien's smug expression faltered. "I don't know who gave the order," he admitted, "but I can tell you this. It wasn't just the Zephyr. They're being funded by someone bigger, someone with resources beyond imagination." "Who?" Mara demanded. Vinar hesitated, his reptilian eyes flicking toward the door, as if expecting someone to burst in. "I don't know, but they have ships capable of wiping out entire fleets, and they're already moving toward your colonies." The information sent chills through the team. If what Vinar said was true, humanity was facing an enemy far more powerful than they had imagined. As they prepared to leave, an explosion rocked the outpost. Mara and her team barely escaped as a squad of alien assassins stormed the building, clearly sent to silence Vinar. In the chaos, Ava managed to retrieve a small device from the alien attackers, a high-tech tracker leading to their next base of operations. Back at their safe house, Mara reviewed the tracker with her team. "They're trying to stay ahead of us, but we're not backing down," she said. "We've got a lead, and we're going to use it. If they think humanity will roll over and die, they've underestimated us." As the team prepared for their next mission, an encrypted message appeared on their comms. It was from an unknown source, but the content was clear. "Stop now, or Earth burns." Far away, in the blackness of space, an alien fleet began to mobilize. Humanity's time was running out, but Mara's resolve only hardened. They would not go quietly. Shadows of the enemy. The tracker Ava had recovered led Mara and her team deep into uncharted space. Their destination was a remote moon orbiting a dying star, its surface cloaked in storms and electromagnetic interference. Official star maps marked it as desolate and uninhabitable, a perfect hiding spot for those who wanted to avoid detection. The moon's terrain was harsh, a wasteland of jagged rocks and toxic winds. As their stealth ship descended, Ethan's voice crackled through the comms. "We've got no friendly signals, no beacons, and no idea what's waiting for us down there. This place is a dead zone." "Good," Mara replied, her tone sharp. "That means they won't see us coming either." The team landed their ship in a deep canyon, its walls offering cover from prying eyes. As they stepped out, Ava scanned the area with her handheld device, the tracker leading them to a concealed entrance carved into the rock face. "It's here," she said, pointing to a nearly invisible hatch. They'd gone to great lengths to stay hidden. With a quiet nod, Mara motioned for Dax to work his magic. The former smuggler pulled out a set of tools, bypassing the alien security system with practiced ease. The hatch hissed open, revealing a dark tunnel descending into the moon's core. "Stay sharp," Mara said, leading the way. The tunnel was eerily silent, the only sounds the faint hum of alien machinery and the team's cautious footsteps. As they moved deeper, the air grew colder, the walls pulsing faintly with an otherworldly light. They reached a massive chamber at the heart of the facility. Rows of sleek alien consoles lined the walls, and in the center stood a holographic display showing a map of Earth and its colonies. Red markers highlighted key locations, strategic military bases, major cities, and critical infrastructure. Ethan's eyes widened as he began decoding the information. "This isn't just a map," he said. "It's a playbook. They've planned every move: sabotage, infiltration, targeted strikes. If they execute this, Earth won't stand a chance." Serena frowned. "Who are they?" "The Zephyr Coalition doesn't have the resources for this kind of operation." Before Ethan could answer, the chamber's lights flickered, and an automated voice in an alien language blared through the speakers. Ava's face tensed as she scanned the area. We've triggered a security system. We need to move now. As the team began downloading the data, the chamber's walls shifted. Panels slid open to reveal sleek, humanoid machines, alien drones armed with advanced weaponry. Without hesitation, they opened fire. "Take cover," Mara shouted, drawing her pulse rifle. The chamber erupted into chaos as the team engaged the drones. Ava moved like a shadow, taking down enemies with precision strikes. Dax used his knowledge of alien tech to disable several drones, creating openings for the others. Serena's tactical commands kept them coordinated, while Ethan worked furiously to complete the data download. Mara, at the forefront, was a force of nature. Her combat skills were unmatched, her every move calculated and lethal. But the drones kept coming, their numbers seemingly endless. "Ethan, how much longer?" Mara called out, her voice cutting through the noise. 30 seconds. Just hold them off," he yelled, sweat dripping down his face. The team fought with everything they had, holding the line until Ethan's voice rang out. "Got it. Let's go." Mara threw a grenade into the center of the chamber, the explosion sending drones flying as the team retreated into the tunnels. But their escape was far from smooth. The facility began to collapse, triggered by the security system's self-destruct protocol. Back on the surface, the team barely made it to their ship as the moon's surface erupted in violent explosions. Mara piloted them out of the canyon, the shockwaves from the destruction trailing close behind. As they broke free of the moon's atmosphere, the team finally allowed themselves to breathe. Ethan connected the data to the ship's systems, bringing up the decoded information. "This isn't just the Zephyr Coalition," he said, his voice grave. "They're working with a larger network, one that includes factions within the Galactic Council. They've been funding and supplying the Zephyr to destabilize us from the inside." Mara's jaw tightened. "So it's not just warlords in the shadows. It's politicians and power brokers, hiding behind diplomacy while plotting our downfall." Ava leaned forward, studying the data. "Look at this. They've been testing a new weapon, a fleet killer. They're planning to deploy it against our colonies within weeks." Ethan nodded. "And that's not all. There's a name here. The Architect. Whoever they are, they're pulling the strings. They've been orchestrating this entire operation." Mara stared at the data, her mind racing. They had uncovered a vast conspiracy, but with each answer came more questions. Who was the Architect? What was their ultimate goal? And how could humanity fight back against such a powerful enemy? As the team plotted their next move, a chilling message appeared on their ship's console. "You cannot stop what is coming. Earth will burn." The team exchanged grim looks. The stakes were higher than ever, but so was their resolve. Far away, in a hidden sector of space, a colossal alien fleet began assembling. At its center was a massive ship, its design unlike anything seen before. Inside, a figure cloaked in shadows watched the fleet's progress, their voice calm and cold. "Let the humans fight," the Architect said. "It will only make their defeat sweeter." Unity under threat. Earth was a planet simmering with unrest. President Cole's assassination had shaken the foundation of human unity, and now the revelations from Mara's mission threatened to split it apart entirely. While Earth's leaders debated how to respond to the alien threat, whispers of betrayal and division spread like wildfire. In the midst of it all, Mara's team worked in the shadows, preparing for what they knew was an inevitable war. In a secure underground bunker in New Geneva, the leaders of Earth's major nations had convened. The room was tense, filled with raised voices and accusatory glares. Holographic displays of alien fleets and intercepted transmissions filled the air, their implications undeniable. "They're coming for us," shouted General Marcus Kane, slamming his fist on the table. "We need to strike first, before it's too late, and start a war we can't win," countered Prime Minister Ilara Chin. "We have no proof the Galactic Council as a whole is involved. Retaliating blindly could unite them against us." "Blindly," Kane scoffed. They've already killed our leader and infiltrated our systems. What more proof do you need? Mara, standing silently at the edge of the room, finally spoke. Her voice was low but commanding. If we keep fighting amongst ourselves, they've already won. The data we recovered points to a coordinated attack on our colonies. Whether the Council is complicit or not, we're out of time. We need to act. Her words cut through the noise, but the divisions remained. Some leaders wanted immediate military action, while others pushed for a diplomatic approach, hoping to isolate the rogue factions without provoking the galactic war. Meanwhile, Mara's team worked tirelessly in their hidden base. Ethan sifted through the recovered data, uncovering more details about the enemy's plans. One discovery sent chills through the group: a covert alien operation codenamed Iron Eclipse. "This is it," Ethan said, his voice heavy. "They're planning simultaneous strikes on our colony's power grids, food supplies, and communication networks. If they succeed, we'll be thrown into chaos before their fleet even arrives." "Then we need to stop it," Mara said. "What's their next target?" Ethan pulled up a map of the colonies, highlighting a sprawling city on Titan. "Here, Titan Prime. If they knock out its energy core, the entire colony will freeze within days." The team moved quickly, infiltrating Titan Prime's central energy facility. The city was a marvel of human engineering, its glass-domed skyscrapers gleaming against the dark expanse of Saturn's rings. But beneath its beauty, the team found signs of sabotage, alien devices planted deep within the facility's infrastructure. As they worked to dismantle the devices, others discovered something chilling: a hidden surveillance network that had been monitoring not just Titan Prime, but multiple colonies. The enemy wasn't just planning attacks, they were gathering intelligence, learning humanity's weaknesses. "They've been watching us for years," Ava said, her voice tight. "This isn't just about conquest. They want to break us from within." The team's efforts were interrupted when a squad of alien operatives stormed the facility. These weren't drones. They were living, breathing warriors, their armor sleek and their weapons deadly. The ensuing battle was fierce, with Mara's team using every ounce of their skill to hold the line. Back on Earth, the political tensions reached a boiling point. A faction of Earth's leaders, frustrated by the lack of decisive action, announced the formation of the Terran Sovereignty Alliance, a coalition of militarized nations ready to take the fight to the stars. The announcement sent shockwaves across the planet, threatening to fracture the fragile unity President Cole had worked so hard to build. Ilara Chin, desperate to prevent a complete collapse, reached out to Mara. "We need a win," she said, her tone pleading. "Something to remind people that we're stronger together. If the colonies fall, we lose everything." Mara's team narrowly succeeded in disabling the sabotage on Titan Prime, but the victory came at a cost. Dax was gravely injured in the fight, his quick wit replaced by labored breaths as the team carried him to safety. The alien operatives, though defeated, left behind a chilling message broadcast across Titan Prime's communication network. "Humanity cannot escape its fate. Surrender, and some of you may survive." The broadcast spread rapidly, fueling fear and panic. Protests erupted on the colonies, with some citizens demanding independence from Earth, believing the planet's infighting would only lead to their destruction. As Mara's team regrouped, Ethan made a startling discovery. Hidden deep within the recovered data was evidence of a human collaborator, a high-ranking official feeding information to the enemy. The betrayal cut deep, but it also provided an opportunity. "We use them," Mara said. "Let them think their cover is intact. We'll feed them false information and see where it leads." The plan was risky, but the team had no choice. Humanity's survival depended on uncovering the full extent of the conspiracy before it was too late. The chapter ended with Mara standing on the bridge of their stealth ship, staring out at the stars. In her hand was a small token, a gift from President Cole, given to her before his death. It was inscribed with the words, "For those who dare to hope." "We're not done yet," she whispered, determination burning in her eyes. Far away, in the shadows of deep space, the architect watched the chaos unfold. "Let them struggle," they said, their voice cold and detached. "The more they resist, the more complete their defeat will be." The pieces were moving, and the game was far from over. The resistance rises. Mara's team had returned to their hidden base, battered but alive. The revelation of a human collaborator had shaken them, but it also lit a fire within. The enemy was not invincible. They had cracks, and humanity could exploit them. However, with Earth's unity unraveling and the colonies teetering on rebellion, Mara knew that time was running out. As Ethan worked to trace the collaborators' activities, he uncovered an encrypted transmission from Earth's capital to a heavily fortified alien research facility on a forbidden planet called Cryon 9. Cryon 9 was shrouded in secrecy, surrounded by legends of ancient alien weapons and experiments gone wrong. If the rumors were true, it held technology that could tilt the balance of power. "This is it," Mara said, studying the transmission logs. "They'd been using Cryon 9 as a staging ground. If we can get there, we might find the weapon they're planning to use against us." But Cryon 9 was deep in enemy-controlled space, and even with their stealth ship, getting there would be a suicide mission. To pull it off, Mara needed allies, people willing to take risks when no one else would. She reached out to old contacts, rogue factions, and outlaws she'd once fought against. It was a desperate move, but she knew the importance of unity, even among the most unlikely groups. One by one, they answered her call. Some came for revenge, others for glory, but most came because they believed in humanity's right to survive. Among them was Cade Rylus, a former pirate and expert pilot who had once outmaneuvered an entire alien fleet, and Dr. Talia Grayson, a brilliant but disgraced scientist who had been exiled for her controversial experiments. Together, they formed a makeshift resistance force, operating outside the fractured political structure of Earth. As the newly formed resistance prepared to infiltrate Cryon 9, the collaborators' identity was revealed. Senator Eric Thorne, a charismatic but divisive politician who had been a vocal critic of humanity's expansion into space. Thorne's betrayal cut deep, not just because of his position, but because he had access to Earth's most classified military strategies. Ethan devised a plan to feed Thorne false information about the Resistance's movements. It was a dangerous gamble. If Thorne suspected he was being manipulated, it could backfire catastrophically. The mission to Cryon 9 began under the cover of a decaying asteroid field. Mara's fleet of stolen and repurposed ships weaved through the debris, using the chaotic environment to mask their approach. Cryon 9's atmosphere was harsh and unstable, with constant storms of acidic rain and violent winds. The surface of the planet was dotted with alien structures, their architecture hauntingly beautiful but clearly designed for war. The team landed near the largest structure, a towering fortress pulsing with energy. As they infiltrated the facility, they encountered signs of horrific experiments, chambers filled with grotesque alien creatures, some half alive and writhing in pain. Dr. Grayson examined the technology with a mix of fascination and horror. "This isn't just a weapon," she said, her voice trembling. "It's a bioengineered fleet. They've been creating ships that are alive, capable of adapting and regenerating in battle." The implications were staggering. If the aliens deployed these living ships, humanity's fleets would stand no chance. The Resistance located the main control center, where they found the plans for the Dreadspire, the prototype living warship designed to lead the fleet. It was nearly operational, its core pulsing with a strange, glowing energy. Destroying it would cripple the enemy's plans, but the fortress was heavily guarded, and the Dreadspire's core was protected by an impenetrable energy field. As they worked to disable the defenses, the facility's alarms blared. The enemy had discovered their presence. Waves of alien soldiers poured into the facility, their weapons far superior to anything the Resistance had seen before. The battle was fierce. Mara's team fought valiantly, using every trick they had to hold off the enemy, while Ethan and Dr. Grayson worked to override the energy field. Cade's piloting skills came into play as he flew their stolen ship into the fortress itself, providing critical fire support. In the chaos, Ava discovered an alien terminal connected to the Dreadspire's systems. With her stealth skills, she accessed the terminal and found a shocking revelation. The Dreadspire wasn't just a warship. It was linked to a network of hidden alien bases across the galaxy. If activated, it could coordinate simultaneous strikes on Earth and its colonies. As the Resistance held their ground, Dr. Grayson finally succeeded in overloading the energy field. But there was a catch. The only way to destroy the Dreadspire's core was to manually detonate a fusion charge inside the control room. Mara volunteered without hesitation. "Are you crazy?" Ethan shouted. "You'll never make it out alive." "I don't need to," Mara said, her voice steady. "This is bigger than me, bigger than all of us." But before she could carry out the plan, Dax, still recovering from his injuries, stepped forward. "I'll do it," he said. "You're the leader we need, and I'm not about to let these bastards win without a fight." Mara hesitated but finally nodded. "You're a damn fool," she said, gripping his shoulder. "Yeah," Dax replied with a grin, "but a useful one." Dax made his way to the control room, planting the charge as the team fought to cover his retreat. His final words over the comms were simple: "Take care of Earth for me." The explosion was massive, lighting up the storm-ridden skies of Cryon 9. The Dreadspire's core collapsed, and the entire facility began to implode. Mara and her team barely escaped, their ship rocketing away as the fortress was consumed by fire and ash. Back on Earth, news of the Resistance's success spread like wildfire. For the first time since the assassination, humanity felt a spark of hope. But Mara knew the fight was far from over. The Dreadspire was destroyed, but the Architect and their fleet were still out there, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As she stood on the bridge of her ship, Mara gazed out at the stars. "This isn't the end," she said quietly. "It's just the beginning." Far away, the Architect watched the destruction of Cryon 9 with cold indifference. "Let them celebrate," they said. "The real war has yet to begin." Battle for survival. The destruction of the Dreadspire was a bittersweet victory. While humanity had dealt a severe blow to the enemy's plans, the cost had been high, and the war was far from over. Mara's resistance had gained momentum, but the enemy's fleet, a vast armada capable of overwhelming any defense, was now mobilizing for its final assault. On Earth, the cracks in human unity widened. The Terran Sovereignty Alliance continued to push for an aggressive military campaign, while the remaining factions of Earth's leadership argued for diplomacy and caution. The colonies, fearful of being abandoned or sacrificed, threatened to secede altogether. In the midst of this chaos, Mara and her team returned to Earth's orbit aboard their battered stealth ship. They were greeted not as heroes, but with suspicion and hostility. Senator Eric Thorne, the traitorous collaborator, had used their absence to spread misinformation, painting them as rogue agents endangering humanity's fragile alliances. "We don't have time for this," Mara snapped as she faced the council in an emergency meeting. "While you argue the enemy is preparing to wipe us off the map, we need to unite. Now, or we're finished." Thorne's voice dripped with false concern. "And who do you propose we trust? A resistance that operates in the shadows? A group of outlaws and exiles? Unity is built on trust, Captain Steele, and you've given us little reason to trust you." Before Mara could respond, a transmission interrupted the meeting. It was a live broadcast from the enemy fleet. The Architect appeared, their face obscured by a shimmering veil of light, their voice cold and deliberate. "Humans," they said, addressing the entire planet and its colonies, "you have proven yourselves reckless and dangerous. Your defiance threatens the balance of the galaxy. Surrender now, and we will spare those who submit. Resist, and we will show no mercy." The transmission ended, leaving the room in stunned silence. For a moment, even Thorne was at a loss for words. In the Resistance's hidden base, Ethan analyzed the Architect's fleet. It was massive. Hundreds of ships, each armed with technology far beyond anything humanity could counter. But Ethan also found something else. A weakness. Their fleet is coordinated through a central command ship, he explained, showing the holographic display to the team. It's like a brain. Take it out, and the rest of the fleet will lose cohesion. Mara studied the schematics. The command ship was heavily guarded, surrounded by smaller vessels, and protected by a powerful energy shield. But there was a narrow window of vulnerability. During the fleet's approach, the shield would briefly drop to recalibrate. We hit them then, Mara said, but we'll need every ship, every pilot, and every ounce of firepower we can muster. As the Resistance prepared for battle, Mara reached out to the colonies and Earth's divided factions. She broadcast a heartfelt message, showing them the footage of Cryon 9, the Dreadspire, and the Architect's plans for humanity's destruction. We are all that stands between survival and extinction, she said. This isn't about politics, power, or borders. This is about humanity's right to exist. If we don't stand together now, there will be no tomorrow. Her words resonated. Slowly, leaders who had been on the brink of rebellion pledged their support. Rogue pilots, disgraced officers, and retired soldiers came out of hiding, joining the Resistance in droves. Even Thorne, cornered by his exposure as a collaborator, reluctantly offered resources to prove his loyalty. Though Mara kept a close eye on him. The battle began as the Architect's fleet entered Earth's solar system. The human forces, now united under a single banner, met them near Jupiter, using the planet's moons as cover. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled, but it was still dwarfed by the enemy armada. The fight was brutal and chaotic. Mara's Resistance fleet led the charge, using guerrilla tactics to outmaneuver the larger enemy ships. Cade's piloting skills proved invaluable as he dodged alien fire and delivered devastating strikes to their flanks. Serena coordinated the human forces, keeping the fragile alliance from falling apart under pressure. Ethan and Ava, aboard the stealth ship, infiltrated the enemy command ship during the battle. Their mission was to disable the shield generator and expose the ship's core to a direct attack. Inside the command ship, Ava and Ethan faced nightmarish challenges. The corridors were filled with advanced alien drones and traps designed to repel intruders. Every step forward felt like a death sentence, but they pressed on, determined to succeed. Back in space, the human fleet was taking heavy losses. Mara's voice over the comms kept them steady. "Hold the line," she said. "We're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for everyone who comes after us." Finally, Ethan and Ava reached the shield generator. As Ethan worked to disable it, the Architect appeared as a hologram, taunting them. "Do you truly believe you can win?" the Architect said, their voice calm and mocking. "Your kind is weak, fractured, and short-sighted. You've already lost." Ava ignored the taunts, covering Ethan as he worked. "We'll see about that," she muttered. The shield fell, and Mara seized the opportunity. She led a daring assault on the command ship, piloting her own vessel through a hail of enemy fire. As her ship's weapons targeted the core, the Architect appeared on her screen. "This is your moment of glory, Captain Steele," they said. "But glory is fleeting. Even if you destroy me, others will rise. Your kind cannot escape its fate." Mara didn't hesitate. Maybe, but not today. She fired. The command ship erupted in a massive explosion, sending shockwaves through the enemy fleet. Without their central coordination, the alien ships faltered, their movements chaotic and disorganized. Humanity's forces pressed the advantage, driving them back. As the battle ended, the remaining enemy ships retreated into deep space. Humanity had won, but at a heavy cost. The debris of countless ships, human and alien, drifted silently among the stars. On Earth, people celebrated the victory, But Mara felt no joy. She knew the war wasn't over. The architect's warning lingered in her mind. Others will rise. As she stood on the bridge of her ship, looking out at the damaged but still standing Earth, she made a silent vow. Humanity would not just survive. It would rise stronger than ever. Far away, in the shadows of an unknown galaxy, a figure watched the aftermath of the battle. The architect's voice echoed in their ears. This was only the beginning. Humanity's defiance. The battle near Jupiter was over, but the scars of the war ran deep. Ships, damaged and battered, limped back to Earth and its colonies. The debris of friend and foe alike floated silently in the vast expanse of space, a grim reminder of the cost of survival. Though the architect's fleet had been defeated, humanity knew this victory was not the end. It was merely the start of a longer, more dangerous struggle. On Earth, the Terran Sovereignty Alliance declared the battle a triumph of their militarized approach. Politicians scrambled to claim credit, while the colonies demanded reparations for their sacrifices. Tensions flared once again, threatening the fragile unity humanity had achieved. Mara Steele, now a figure of legend, stood apart from the chaos. She knew that while the enemy fleet was gone, the architect's shadow loomed large. Reports had surfaced of new disturbances on the galactic fringes, disappearances, strange energy readings, and whispers of the architect's survival. In a hidden bunker deep beneath the Martian surface, Mara and her team convened. Ethan displayed a hologram of the galaxy, highlighting key systems that had gone dark in recent weeks. "These aren't random," Ethan said, his voice grave. "They're following a pattern. The architect may have lost their fleet, but they're regrouping, consolidating their power. And they're not alone." Ava leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "What about the Council? Are they just sitting back, watching all this happen?" Serena frowned. "The Council's silence speaks volumes. Either they're complicit, or they're too afraid to act. Either way, we can't count on them." Mara studied the map, her jaw tight. "If the architect is alive, we need to finish what we started. We can't let them rebuild. If we wait, we'll lose the chance to end this once and for all." The Resistance's intelligence led them to Draconis Prime, a remote planet known for its uninhabitable surface and volatile atmosphere. Beneath its storms, however, lay an ancient alien facility, a remnant of a long-extinct civilization rumored to possess unimaginable power. It was here that the architect had retreated, gathering the remnants of their forces and working to activate the facility's mysterious technology. Mara and her team prepared for what they knew would be the most dangerous mission of their lives. The human fleet, though diminished, rallied behind them, united by the knowledge that this was humanity's last chance to end the architect's threat. As they approached Draconis Prime, the storm-covered planet loomed like a harbinger of doom. Lightning danced across its surface, and the atmosphere crackled with energy strong enough to disable most ships. Mara's fleet deployed specialized shielding, but even then, their approach was treacherous. Descending to the planet's surface, they encountered fierce resistance. The architect's remaining forces had fortified the area, using advanced technology to create impenetrable defenses. The ground battle was brutal, with human soldiers fighting against bioengineered monstrosities that seemed impervious to conventional weapons. Ethan and Ava infiltrated the facility, working to disable its power grid. Inside, they found evidence of the architect's plan to activate an ancient device capable of creating a singularity, a black hole powerful enough to consume entire star systems. "This isn't just about humanity," Ethan said, his voice filled with dread. "They're planning to wipe out the entire Council and take control of the galaxy." Mara led the assault on the facility's core, where the architect awaited. The confrontation was nothing short of cataclysmic. The architect, clad in a suit of living armor, seemed untouchable. They moved with calculated precision, wielding energy weapons that could disintegrate anything in their path. "You've come far, Captain Steele," the architect said, their voice calm and cold. "But you are too late. The galaxy is broken, and I am the one who will shape it anew. Not while I'm breathing. Mara shot back, charging forward. The battle was fierce and personal. Mara fought with every ounce of strength she had, her team supporting her from the shadows. Ethan managed to disrupt the Architect's control over their living armor, giving Mara an opening. With a final, desperate effort, Mara struck the Architect's core, shattering their defenses. The Architect collapsed, their voice faltering. "You think this changes anything? The galaxy is chaos. You cannot stop its fall." Mara knelt beside them, her voice resolute. "Maybe not, but we'll fight for it, every step of the way." As the facility began to collapse, Mara and her team narrowly escaped, carrying with them the Architect's data, a treasure trove of information on their hidden allies and remaining forces. The human fleet pulled back as the planet erupted in a massive explosion, consuming the ancient facility and any hope of the Architect's survival. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated, but Mara knew the fight wasn't over. The Architect's forces were scattered, but they weren't gone. Humanity's unity was still fragile, and the galaxy remained a dangerous place. Standing on the bridge of her ship, Mara addressed her crew. "We've won today, but the galaxy is still watching. They're waiting to see if we'll rise or fall. We've proven we can stand together. Now we need to build something worth fighting for." Far away, in the shadow of an uncharted system, a small group of ships gathered. The Architect's voice, now fragmented and distorted, echoed in the darkness. "The war is not over. The seeds of chaos have been sown, and chaos always grows."